Are you good with 30? You want to do a little more than 30? What you want?
Yeah, let's go however you feel, my man.
Let's do 45.
Sounds good. Perfect.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Right.
Thank you.
Make sure this thing's plugged in. As long as that light is lit up, that means it's plugged in. Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm Bob Arum, and I'm with the Fighter's Voice.
My name is Andre Ward.
Knocking out the competition.
Fighter's Voice!
The Fighter's Voice.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fighter's Voice Knockout Podcast, along with my host, Shelly Hollis, rocking in Stockton, California. What's happening, Shelly?
What's up, man?
Oh, man, we got a great show for you this evening, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see who we have with us right now. But before we get into that, we're going to cover topics on the welterweight division, the lightweight division, and then we're even going to talk about the Cleveland Browns flipping the script, not only in the postseason, but, hey, we're keeping the dream alive, and you never know, man. They may just be wearing a ring when it's all said and done. There we are, my man's rocking his Cleveland Browns colors. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to waste any time, any seconds. Questionnaire has been flooding in today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us not the one-time, but the two-time Mr. Showtime, Shawn Porter. Welcome to the Fighter's Voice, my man.
Hey, man. Thanks for reaching out. I appreciate it. A lot going on right now, especially with these Browns. You know what I mean? I appreciate you speaking that into the atmosphere that they could possibly have a ring. You know, at this point in time, I can tell you that Cleveland right now, we're kind of floating on the cloud right now because we have really had a season where we can enjoy our Browns along the way throughout the season. I mean, we've had season after season where we really collectively as fans we still tune in, but we really are just dropped off because we see that there's no future, you know, beyond the season. And this year has been the first season, I think, in about 17 years that we have made it to the postseason. And even crazier real quick, and then we can get into it. But I got a couple friends that live out here in Vegas with me that are from Ohio. And with everything going on, my house has been on lockdown. But I talked to my wife. I said, listen, I want to just have the Cleveland boys here. Just three people. And she's like, all right, cool. I said, in my mind, we'll just do it 1 week and then we're good. Because it's not that I didn't think we were going to beat the Steelers, but we haven't been here. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, we'll do it this week and then, you know, that'll be it. And here we are. I'm like, I'm like really debating whether or not I'm going to invite these guys over for another week because I didn't really expect this. You know what I mean? So right now is a good time to be a Cleveland Browns fan, and anybody who enjoys football, man, especially for the Browns, you got to be enjoying what you're seeing right now.
All right, Shawn, well, I'm gonna have to congratulate you and the Browns on that, man.
Thank you, man.
Coming from a Raiders fan, bro, 17 years ain't longer than 18 years.
Hey, y'all beat us this year, and I live in Las Vegas, so I'm like, man, y'all got to come here and show up. Don't let it happen where, you know what I mean. But it happened this year for y'all, so you know y'all got to win over us.
Yeah, we did, and you know who got to win over?
And y'all were knocking on the door too, you know.
And we got KC, which you got to see real soon.
Yeah, I know y'all got KC too. That's what I said about the Raiders this year. I said, man, y'all had like an up and down season. Y'all were beating teams y'all weren't supposed to beat, and then y'all were losing to teams y'all weren't supposed to lose to. It was kind of weird.
And I respect any Browns fans' compliments because me and you, we can empathize with our struggles. Like, you got to be committed to be a Raiders fan, dog.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you got committed. You got to be born to be a Cleveland fan. You know what I mean? You have to be born into that. You know what I mean? So the cool part about that too is a lot of people that know me, they know how big of a Cleveland Browns fan I am, and they find themselves now at this point rooting for the Cleveland Browns, which is pretty cool.
Congrats.
You got to go for the Cinderella team, man. You got to go for the underdog. Me, myself, it's like Valentine's Day, man. I'm used to getting my heart broken, man. I'm a Cowboy fan. So it's like that last week, man, I get my hopes up for nothing, and then it just hits us. But hey, that's the NFL, man. That's a playoff football, and that's just football in general.
First season for them, man. I think that they made the right move hiring McCarty. For his first year down there, I think things are going to start to go the right direction that they wanted to this coming season. Of course, with that going down, I mean, you know, when that happens, it's like he really was the captain of the ship. You know what I mean? There were Ezekiel Elliott and there were other players who were playmakers, but it seemed like it kind of revolved around Dak Prescott. You know what I mean? So to see him go down was heartbreaking.
It sure was. And you know what I'm most impressed with right now, before we even get into the Shelly, since he's on the topic of football, because one of the questions I was going to ask him is, how do you differ yourself from commentating boxing? Have you opened yourself up to commentate football? Because you're Mr. Excitement and Mr. Showtime on the microphone, because you handle the stick very well. That's why I let you go on and on and on. And I'm waiting for you to talk about the defense right now and the offense and the keys to victory right now.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love football. And I do my own podcast, and I told the guys that we were going to talk about football this past episode. And my guy said, man, I'm not about to sit down and watch every wild card game this weekend. That's like my thing. You know what I mean? So I love football. I know the X's and O's. I played it and I love it. You know what I mean? So I get it. And I actually get really, really excited when people ask me to talk football, because it really is outside of my realm. It's outside of what people know me for. So I think if anything, it's an opportunity to really show that I'm not just a boxing analyst, but I can talk it a little bit, you know, some other sports as well, football, and I think a little bit of basketball, and that's about it for me.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, because whenever myself or Shelly, whenever we mention you, because your nickname to us is quite frank, it suits you best. Cleveland Browns, their dogs, is we call you a dog.
Yeah.
And we always say Showtime always has the edge because he's a football player.
Yeah.
And as you see, you know, I mean, he puts his head in there, he puts his pads in there, and you put yourself right in the pocket. Shelly, I'm gonna let you talk a little bit more about that. And you know, I'm just not BSing about that. Haven't we been saying this dude's a dog because he's a football player?
Hey, Shawn, let me ask you a question, man, because you know I work out and I spar and stuff, but nothing on your level, man. But I did play ball, man. Growing up, taking them hits, playing football, did that help you in boxing?
You know, I don't know. I think that I think collectively what it is I think in the boxing ring, I think I have an understanding. I think my understanding is at the end of the day, if I do the best that I can and I pour my heart out, then I'm more than likely going to win. But even when I don't win, in the case of those 3 losses that I've had, I think people, they still see that there's grit and there's fight and there's excitement, even in the few losses that I've had, where people are like, we know what Shawn Porter is going to give us no matter what. And I think a dog, at the end of the day, the dog that wins is the dog that has more grit and more fight and more heart. And I think that that's something. And I think that is something that I kind of grew into it. I was always the smaller guy on the field. I was always one of the quickest, one of the fastest, and one of the strongest, but also a lot like boxing, where it happens where because I'm smaller, I'm always counted out, or I'm always the underdog. And so I think even in football, I was always the underdog, not the guy expected to do the things that I did in football. And I think I just that kind of just overlapped. It was like whatever I was doing on the football field, I was given just as much in the ring, and vice versa. And I mean, everybody should know at least that I play a lot of Monopoly. I play cards, dominoes, and I talk a lot of crap. But if you watching me, like, and you watching my eyes, like, you'll see a little glimpse of like Shawn Porter, Showtime Shawn Porter in the ring. Like, you'll see that like during a card game, but it's like just my nature, you know what I mean? And so that's something that'll never, when it's your nature, it's like you can't get out of your own way from being tough, from being a fighter. And that's who I am. It's just me by nature.
Yeah, I always found, and I know you started a little heavier and stuff too. And I always said, I was like, damn, man, you know, when you play football, you don't give a damn what the other dude wear. You don't get to pick who you gonna tackle. Like, on my side, you gotta that shit. You know what I'm saying? And what color? And that's how I see you as a fighter. I'm like, I know he played ball, because dude ain't tripping on going through some shit. You know what I mean? That mentality. You play ball, you like, man, I gotta make that.
But let me be honest with you. I've had cuts. I've had really just dog fights. I've had hard fights. I've had it all. And the best thing that you can do as a young fighter is learn from the older fighters. Watch film on what these older guys do, kind of pick up on the tendencies, the things that they do well, and just kind of adapt it and make it your own. And when I was about to turn pro, I was watching a lot of boxing basically to see what I was in for. I really wasn't watching boxing as a fan, just watching it to see, like, what's this really like? You know, it's something that I've always done, but I've always done it with a headgear, and the list goes on from there, the 3-minute rounds and all that kind of stuff. So it was like, let me see what this is really all about. And I read people very well. So I would watch guys who would get cut, and I would see how they would handle cuts and so on and so forth. And I kind of was like a pen and pad and paper in my head. And I was just like, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And so it's not only my nature to be tough, but it's also how I've seen other people handle themselves, understanding that that's what a fighter really does. And when that happens, that's what you have to do, you know?
Yeah,
that's a great analogy.
Yeah, it is. Big fan of the show. One thing he tapped on the last podcast I watched, you were trying to explain to everybody the significance of body shots, right? Because it's what we just seen with Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
Story you told kind of reminds me of what you said right now. You're like, I was a student of the game. I think you were saying something about watching one of your boys take an L.
It was actually my brother. In the sparring. Yeah. You're
like, I got in there and the same thing.
Yep. I was young, and even then I still didn't. What I was trying to explain, and I think that's kind of what I get into on my podcast, is I really want to give people an understanding of what it's like in the ring. And I was really trying to explain to people, like, the body shots, you see them land, and it's always a delayed reaction. So I know a lot of people are always like, was it really that bad? And they're like, is he faking and all of that kind of stuff. Those guys aren't trying to get out of the ring. Like, they really can't get up, you know? And it's something that you really just can't explain. And to be honest with you, a lot of people they want to know what's it like to be in the ring. What did it feel like getting hit by this guy and all that kind of stuff. That is actually, that's one thing I would tell somebody, get in the ring and feel it, because you're not going to get killed. You know what I mean? You're not going to get extremely hurt and have something that you got to worry about for a long time. You know, you get hit in the head and things like that. Those are things you really got to worry about. But if you get hit in the right place one time, you get a really good understanding of what it feels like to be a boxer, and you only have to experience one time, and you're like, oh yeah, I know what that feels like, you know. So that's kind of something I do encourage, like, get in the ring and feel what that kidney shot feels like, feel what that liver shot feels like.
You know, I wish a lot of these guys on the social media, I wish they would experience getting in the ring, because
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly, because I mean, they like using terms like, oh, he's washed up, have him retire. Not you, but in general, any fighter.
I know. Yeah.
They'll call any fighter a bum, or he sucks. And I'm thinking, how can you say that to a man that just went 12 rounds? First of all, he has the stamina, he has the will, and just to climb through those ropes, you got to have a set hanging pretty low to put your life in jeopardy and know
Absolutely.
that, hey, it's either you or him.
Absolutely.
So when I hear you say that, man, I invite those guys. A lot of times, I may not have the fighter's cell number, but I act like I do. So I'll get on there and I'll defend it, and I'll say, hey, look, for instance, I'll name a fighter. Say they said something about you, and I'll say, hey, you want to spar with them? I got a cell number. I'll have them give you a call. And then it's like, wait, oh no, that's not what I meant. And then they backtrack, because the reality of it is they may have to put a mouthpiece on.
And I think the even craziest thing is how social media is now. People, what I've noticed, because I've never been on social media, never read comments and all that kind of stuff. Doing this, I started to get on a little more and watch it and read it and all that kind of stuff. People literally comment just to see what other people are going to say, just to see if other people are going to comment about what they said, just to get some type of attention, which is crazy. I mean, it's just, that's just crazy. But then they take it a step further, and they like to judge these fighters and say what these fighters could do and should do and what they would do and all that kind of stuff. And then if one of us happens to sneak up behind them or walk up behind them or see them or anything like that, it's a big old smile on their face, and they forget all about those comments because now it's real because we're right there, you know. So it's really interesting.
I bet you had fun with that, man. You know, me and Shelly, we were talking along the way about the way that you just were able to adapt and just feel at home. And I noticed that you talked earlier about your being competitive while you're playing cards or you see a little bit of showtime and whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I want to talk about how you just transfer from boxing to the commentary booth.
Yeah.
And the job that you do there, I won't mention any names, but there's a couple of cats on there co-hosting with you, and they wanted to hog the mic, but you let them know I'm here too, and I have the mic.
Yeah. Hey, you know, believe it or not, my wife texts me and she says, they're talking too much. I want to hear you.
Exactly.
And I told her, I said, I text her back, like while I'm doing my thing. And I said, I'm the newbie here. I'm just going to try to feel my way around and work when I can work, but I'm not going to force anything. And then now you got 3 guys trying to talk over a fight. And what I explained to her is, you know, when you have 3 people trying to talk over a fight, now you don't hear the fight. All you hear is 3 people talking and commenting on everything that's going on. But I really didn't feel like everybody wanted to hear 3 people talk during the course of an entire fight. So I was like, that's me. I'm a team player, and I'm always going to be a team player. So in that particular situation, I took a step back with no problem and let those guys work, and I get in when I could. But I'm like, you know, I'm not there. Nobody's really here to listen to me anyway. You're here to enjoy the fight and enjoy how the fight's going from us, you know. But simply put, man, I love it. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and it's something that I always knew I would do. I didn't know when it was going to happen. I got my first call, I believe 2018, and that was when Fox had just started putting PBC back on network television, and they gave me a shot. And the thing I learned really quickly is that the networks just want you to be yourself. And I'm even watching guys now. I'm very competitive, fellas. So I watch Good Morning America, Good Morning Football. I watch, you know, all of the ESPN stuff, a lot of the Fox stuff, and I'm watching how these guys operate, what they say, all that kind of stuff. Always just trying to learn. I'm watching Good Morning Football today, those guys on NFL Network, and I'm watching them like these guys are really just being themselves, and that's pretty cool. And so this is what happened when I first got on Inside PBC Boxing, the Inside PBC Boxing show. I looked at myself in the mirror before we went up to start filming, and I said, whatever these people see this first day, meaning after we did the show, whatever they see is what they're going to expect. So just have fun, enjoy it, and show everybody what you want them to see from you moving forward. I kind of feel like I can do whatever I want to do now. I feel like if I had came on with a clown hat on today, or a clown wig or anything like that, some goofy glasses or anything, I feel like you guys would be receptive to it. But it's because I've given you guys a good understanding of who Shawn Porter is. And now nothing's a front, and now nothing's an act. And I think that was like really my first thing, was show everybody what you want them to see, because that's what they're going to expect moving forward. So I've just tried to be myself, enjoy it. And like I said, man, I've really just been paying attention for a long time and waiting on my shot. And I'm really loving the opportunities that I've been getting.
Well, I've enjoyed you on Fox and PBC. The color commentating, I mean, you guys are all professional and you break down that fight, but I'm talking about the when you would have guests on there. I remember you and Abner, you let them know, hey man, it's my turn on the microphone.
Uh-huh.
And I remember the collaboration. You and Timothy Bradley were having fun, kind of going back and forth when you guys collaborated on the Tyson Fury and the Deontay Wilder.
I'm really hoping that the next time Fox and ESPN can collaborate, I'm hoping to fight. And there's no secret who that fight would be if that were to happen. But that was, for me, that was an opportunity that I will never forget. I've known Dre for a minute, and I've known Tim for a minute, but not in a work atmosphere. I've only known them, you know, just obviously in the boxing atmosphere, but not that type of work atmosphere. And I mean, eyes were like this watching Dre trying to keep up with Tim and have fun. And then Max Kellerman comes on, Joe Tessitore. And I mean, I'm a kid in a candy store, man, like night of. I'm like this, night of, like just like all around me, it's just greatness. I'm hearing Dre down on the ring, at the ring, doing his thing and everybody else. And it just was amazing, you know what I mean? So that and those type of atmospheres, you're really gonna get the real Shawn Porter, because I'm trying to feed it and keep up and do just as much as those other guys. So that was tight, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. I want to fight and have them do that for me, but I would love to do it again, do a big collaboration like that. It was amazing.
It was amazing. You know, I mean, Shelly, we talked about that, how they were able to come together for Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, and gave the boxing fans exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
And I know Shelly, he has something up his sleeve there. He wants to ask that $1 million question, man. And I'm going to let him ask that question, because you know who he was leaning at towards. He would love to share the ring with.
What? What are we talking? What? Share the ring? What?
Yeah, who you sharing the ring with?
No, I'm talking about Showtime.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sharing the ring, but I do train. And I train with someone that knows your father really well. They speak extremely highly of well, they call him Kenny. I know that's father and stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Steve Stokes, the Stokes family, and actually my little favorite boxer, man.
Oh, yeah.
His name is Diesel. He wanted me to
ask,
who's your favorite boxer?
Huh?
He says Diesel Stokes your favorite boxer.
How old is Diesel now? Is he 11 or 12?
They're younger than that, man. I'm at the house.
Is he?
Yeah. Him and his brother. I'm at the house a couple times a week, man. They love you, dude. They're man.
So he just started. So then maybe he's 9 or 10. Then
probably about 10. Yeah. I'm gonna get it wrong, and he going.
Yeah. They happened. So we had the gym out here, and they happened to kind of just. I don't know if they walked in or knocking on the door, saw my dad out or whatever, but I ended up in the gym with Diesel and his dad, and my dad is always inviting of any family, of any father and son duel. That my dad, that's what he's all about. He's all about family and pushing forward in sports, where we're always told that we can't do it. And I think my dad he's always fought against the grind or of being told that he couldn't coach me and he couldn't do things for me. And, someone else would have to take charge at some point, all that kind of stuff. My dad has gone against the grain. And I think not only proved a lot of people wrong, but I think there's a part of him who wants to prove people wrong. And I think there's a part of him who's like, hey, any father and son duel, any cousin and brother, anything like that, I'm gonna show y'all how to do it, because it can be done. And Diesel, man, he was about 5 or 6 years old at that point when he came. Man, he had to be younger than that. But yeah, it was special to see him. He was when he was that young, he was moving, doing his thing. Okay. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think we saw him at a tournament down in Texas. I think maybe last year, I think it was. And we got a chance to see him actually fight, which was cool. So yeah.
My pops wanted me to bring up one thing, because I talked to him earlier, man. Me and my dad, we always talk about the flyest cats on TV. I chose you, and he chose Shannon Sharp. And I was
What's that? Say that again.
I said, me and my dad always talk about the flyest cats on TV. I said, Porter dressed the best. I said Shannon Sharp. Now both of y'all is cold, but your stuff just a little more flashier to me.
What about Michael Irvin?
Irvin,
yeah.
Me see you.
No, you gotta give it Irvin.
New wave,
yeah. Irvin for me, it's more like, I think Irvin and Deion Sanders, those two guys. I tell anybody, like, everybody see me in suits and all that kind of stuff. And I've had people say, man, I can't wear what you wear. I said, listen, whatever you're comfortable in, you can wear. And if you're comfortable in it, people will see you in that and whatever you're wearing. And because they see your comfort and your confidence, they'll accept whatever it is. And so, I mean, I've gone on TV and I've had people make fun of some of the suits that I've worn and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry you didn't like it tonight, but I'll be back the next week and I'll be wearing something else. Hopefully you like that, you know? So I love my closet, man. I love everything. I love everything in my closet and I can't wait to pull it out. I was going to do it tonight. I was like, nah, it's too much. Don't do it tonight, but I probably should have. Next time I'm on the show, I'll definitely have a suit on.
I was thinking maybe you would too. I was thinking,
I thought about it. I did. But I just got home from the gym too.
I remember I talked to you in Las Vegas at the press conference. You guys had a press conference, you and Spence. This was right on during Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman. Mm-hmm. Everybody's asking. I mean, whenever they would ask the press for these questions, these different questions, you know, these other guys, they landed the question before I did. Uh-huh. So I said, man, I got to think of something, man. So I said, hey, man, I noticed you're not wearing your $1 million tie today. And you said, oh no, man, the suit is enough. Yeah. I don't got the tie on today, and I talked to you about your tie collection. Yeah, you actually got your tie collection, and how long does it take you to get that knot in there?
I'm one and done now. Through the grace of God. Normally, you used to be. I would be in the. Nah, that ain't it. Nah, that ain't it. But I'm able to get it just one and done now. So I'm a pro, and maybe eventually I'll put out a tutorial on how I get that done. But yeah, I think. Now I have about 70 ties, and I gave away, believe it or not, I gave away about 40 or 50 ties. So yeah, so everything has got to be tight. And for anybody that doesn't know, the long story short is I'm the third of 2 brothers, and I always wore the hand-me-downs and all that kind of stuff. I hate it, like graduations from 5th grade and middle school and all that, because I had to wear, you know, a janky suit or tie and all that. And for whatever reason, my mind said once I was able to get some money and buy a suit, something always said go buy a suit, you know. And that was it. Like now I'm a suit connoisseur. I love it. I'll compliment you on a suit. A guy walking by with a nice suit on quicker than I would a lady wearing a nice dress, because my eyes are like, that's a nice suit, man, and I dig the suit game. The suit game has got to be tight.
Well, we know that's tight, and we talk about your ties. How's your shoe game, man? I'm just curious. How many boxes do you got? How many? Is it dress shoes or you got Jordans?
I have more dress shoes, definitely more dress shoes than I do like just regular tennis shoes and things like that. But so here's another. So growing up, I wasn't able to afford like Jordans and all that kind of stuff. I had decent shoes. I remember telling my mom one day, don't ever take me to Payless ever again. My mom would get on here and tell her never take me to Payless again, because I just hated the shoes, you know. I begged my dad for some Nikes one time. He bought them, he said, and he argued with me in the store. You're going to scuff them up. I'm not buying them. They cost too much. I begged and pleaded. I got them, scuffed them up. You know what I mean? So I lived early on in my life. I lived not being able to have what most people had, like at school and stuff like that, the Jordans and the fly shoes and all that. So actually what I do now is I'm like a vintage dude. I'm quick to buy some Ken Griffey Juniors that I wanted back in the day. I got some Felines from way back in the day. I'm trying to think of who that was that had that shoe. Grant Hill. Grant Hill had some Felines back in the day. I couldn't afford the Felines. I grabbed them Felines. You know what I mean? So I got some AIs. A couple, like I got a kind of a collection of AIs. You know what I mean? So just everything that I couldn't get back in the day is like that's what I do now. But I think that's cheaper than trying to keep up with the Joneses and do what everybody's doing now. You know, I ain't got no Maybachs or nothing like that in the garage.
All right, speaking of sneakers, man, there's one pair I'm curious about if you still got them. There's a pair of sneakers you earned in the gym in the Philippines, and you wore them in the fight.
Yeah. Oh, I got them. I need to, you know what? I'm going to put them in the glass case, as it's got to be done. I'm putting them in the glass case. That was a true story. Okay. I asked him for shoes in the Philippines. I never got them. I'm a really quiet dude. I don't want to bother nobody. My dad's like, if you don't ask him now, you're not gonna get the shoes. I go in there, knock on the locker room. He's in there and he's actually getting undressed for the day and all that. I asked him if he has some shoes for me, Manny Pacquiao. He says, you didn't get your shoes, buddy? I said, no. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like already uncomfortable. I hardly want them now, you know? And he gave me the shoes that he had on his feet. He asked me what size shoe I wore, and he gave me the shoes that he had on his feet. And in my mind, I'd never tried them on. In my mind, I'm saving them for fight night. And I saved them for fight night. And a little unbeknownst to me, I'm in the back room warming up and I'm shaking my feet out because, you know, I feel a little bit. But oh my God, this was a 10-round fight. And by the third or fourth round, my feet were cramped. And I'm going back to the corner thinking more about my feet than I am what my dad's telling me to do. And I just remember thinking this is the last time I ever wear shoes that I can't fit.
That's what's up, man.
Those are going in the glass case, man. I gotta do them right.
How long did that fight go?
It was a 10-round fight. That was my I think that was my 12th professional fight, and it was for the NABO title, I believe. 10 rounds.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, Showtime, I got a lot of questions, man. I'm gonna have to cut some of these in half, but I'm gonna go ahead and start if you're ready for them.
Yeah, no, we good, man. Let's do it.
Okay, this is coming from a WBO junior lightweight champion of the world, Jamal Herring. He said, I'd love to know who's his top 3 opponents he'd like to fight in 2021. Who's on his wish list?
Yeah. If I could make it happen and have, you know, the blessings of God and the most success of that any fighter could hope and wish for, I'd fight Terrence Crawford, Manny Pacquiao, and Errol Spence Jr. this year if I could. And obviously that's given everything goes right and I'm healthy after each fight. You know, my dad and I were talking today. We're trying to figure out how to get 2 fights in. Errol Spence Jr. that says he doesn't want to fight until the summertime. Dad says if you wait until the summer, you're only going to get 1 fight. So the talk today was we're trying to figure out who we can get in March or April early enough to end the year near the ender half of the summer to get back in the ring with Errol Spence Jr. or Terrence Crawford if that fight's out there for me. Right
on, man. That sounds good. This is from Nancy from the WBC. I don't know if you know her, Nancy Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. She said, "What's his favorite cookie?"
There's no chocolate chip, baby, all day and all night. If I can dunk that bad boy, if I can toss him in my mouth, it's whatever, man. I'm bad when it comes to cookies. I'm good with my dad, but I hope Coach Wade don't see it because he's rolling his eyes right now. If he sees his interview, he knows that cookies are my weakness, and they're not a good thing for me during camp.
Hey man, cookies do taste good. I like peanut butter myself.
Chocolate chip, baby. Nah, you need to get it right.
I'll keep trying until I get it right, my man. This one's coming from Sean Gibbons, Viva Shawn, with his doll Woody. And he says, give Shawn a shout out for his Cleveland Browns football team. Nice. And just wish him continued success in all his fights. And he's doing a wonderful job of broadcasting.
Trying, man. Just doing the best I can. I do appreciate that. I appreciate that. I told my wife this just the other day. I said, I don't know why in my mind, somebody was telling me about the podcast a lot like Shelly right there. He says, I'm a big fan. Like in my mind, I know what I'm doing, but for whatever reason, I don't really fathom like who's really tuning in and who's watching and stuff like that. So I'm just always really humble when people tell me that they're watching and they're listening. And I think the thing I get the most right now is that people say that right now you can kind of watch me, and if you're not a fan of boxing, you don't know much about boxing, you learn a lot really quickly from me. So I think that's a really good thing.
Well, since you brought that one up, I'll go and sneak this one in there. What was it like having Thomas the Hitman Hearns on?
That was tight, man. Again, so someone contacted me and said, hey, Hitman wants to get on your show. And I'm like, who's Hitman? I don't want to be disrespectful, but who's Hitman?
Not Ricky Hatton.
Well, the guy and the guy who reached out to me wasn't a boxing guy, so I didn't understand. I didn't know who Hitman was. He says, man, Tommy Hearns. I was like, whoa, Tommy Hearns want to get on my show? I played it cool. I was like, all right, yeah, give him my number, tell him to call me, so we put it together, and to see, man, it was tight. So my studio is right here in my house, And for me, first of all, to have Tommy Hearns come to my house, that in itself was tight. I tried my best to just be cool and, you know, do a good interview and all that kind of stuff. But on the inside, I was like, I'm like, I hope my wife come down and meet him before he leave. You know, we got this COVID going on and all that, so we trying to play it safe. I told my dad night of, I said, hey, Tommy Hearns is coming over for an interview. He said, really? I said, yeah, Tommy Hearns. He said, that's cool, man. It's cool that he's even coming over here. He sat down and my dad came in and they rapped for a second. We had all met once before, and I got it on tape. I'm gonna see if we can make it happen. My dad called, who did my dad call? My dad called an old school rapper. And it's a rapper that Tommy knew really well. And Tommy just really, like on WhatsApp, just start rapping out of nowhere. I didn't recognize the rap, so I don't know if he was freestyling or what. But I'm sitting here like, dang, and I didn't think like, yo, turn it on so you can get started and get this. So I didn't get it, but somebody else who was my producer that was here, he got a little bit of it, man. We gotta dig that up. But at the end of the day, man, he was really poised and ready to just talk some boxing and be cool. It's hard sometimes, you know, to get some of these guys to, you know, get outside themselves and, you know, loosen up and give you some time. And I was just blessed that he came here ready to give me some time, and we had a ball, man. I hope everybody got a good glimpse of the kind of fun we had. What I'm gonna do now, that gave me the idea, is I'm gonna try to do like a Legends episode, like maybe once a month or once every other month, something like that, just to give people don't remember, are starting to forget, like the greatness that lies within boxing. And that gentleman that sat right here, Tommy Hearns, for me, and I told him right there, I said, like, you are a big reason why I box. My dad gave me that collection with the Fabulous Four, and I watched how you and Marvin Hagler got down, and I was like, oh, I need a piece of that right there, you know. So that's what he was able to do for me and bless the show, and I'm looking forward to doing more of that.
That's good. I'll tell you a quick story since we mentioned Tommy Hearns.
Absolutely.
We were at the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury, the rematch, and I'm at the bar, you know, by the lobby there at MGM Grand. You know what I'm talking about? Tommy is getting out of the elevator, and somebody whispers to me, "Hey, who's that?" So I told him, I said, "Hey, man, you don't know who that is?" So he from the elevator, okay. Yeah. So I'm having a good time at the bar, and I'm sitting there, and I kid you not, it's about maybe 2 hours. So then he already came and passed by the bar. I'm looking to my right. You know where that store's at? You know where the MGM Grand? He was taking baby steps. Every 2 steps, they'd stop him for a picture or an autograph. And he signed every single one. As he was walking, you just saw the crowd moving with him. Yeah. This was 2 hours later. The man didn't even make it outside yet to his taxi or his limousine. Yeah. I mean, they just swarmed all over him.
And when he was here, I was really trying to get him to go to that Garcia versus Spence Jr. fight down in Dallas. I said, man, people want to see you. They need to see you. Like, and that was where you were. You were right there at welterweight and super welterweight. People want to see you. And I wasn't able to get them down there. But for me, if I have an opportunity to remind listeners, remind boxing fans, remind people of the greatness that once was, and that there's greatness to come, you know, in the future. And not only that, also, you know, put those guys in place in situations where they can feel that love that they once felt a lot of back in the day when they were doing it. They don't get to feel it the same anymore, you know. So I was like, man, I want you to be there, man. I want you to really just bask in that love that everybody's going to show you. But I keep in touch with him, and I'm trying to get him to some fights in the future so that people can see him and see that greatness move. You know, I was actually in MGM one time when Muhammad Ali showed up at a fight. I think it was a Floyd Mayweather fight, but I don't remember for sure. And I remember maybe I'm tripping, but I remember once he came in and people saw that he was coming in, no one rushed to get a picture with him. Nobody was trying to yell at him and talk to him or touch his hand or anything. Everybody literally just stood up and started clapping. It was just one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen. And you know, for me to have seen that was, again, I'm competitive, and not am I trying to compete with Muhammad Ali, but I was like, man, to be able to walk in a room someday and everybody just pay me homage and respect like this is unreal. And I just looked around and I saw like just the love that people have for Muhammad Ali, and I didn't get a chance to speak to him, nor did I really want to. I was just as respectful as everybody else. But I think if there was any fighter I could have ever met, it would have been Muhammad Ali. He was special. No secret in that.
That's amazing that just by sight, you're listening to the story, Shelly, and just by sight, just watching the man, I mean, you're already inspired. I mean, that story that you're telling, I can vision him coming in and just exactly. And just you sharing it was a beautiful story. I mean, it happens. Fighters come in and it's tight. Fighters come in, everybody claps. You show us on the teletrons and all that. Everybody claps and hoops and hollers and all that. But we never get any peace. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but there's always in between the fight, somebody's going to try to, scoot in and get a picture with you, or, hey, can you come get an autograph? Nobody dared that with Muhammad Ali. And I recognize that, man. And that was something for me, man. Like I saw that and I was like, I said, yeah. And the second closest one I seen, who would you think it was? I would say, Joe Frazier or Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
I've been in the same room with Joe before. Not at a fight or anything like that, but Mike walked in one time. But again, people ain't gonna give him too much peace, but it's the moment he stepped in that room, everybody stood up and clapped and clapped him to a seat, just like Muhammad Ali. But I don't know. I think Muhammad Ali just had an aura of feel me, love me, but don't touch me, something like that. Because nobody tried to do anything. I watched him all night, man. I mean, he came in the room and I watched him all night. I ain't, it is what it is. I watched the fights, but then I watched Muhammad, because it was great. It was that's something I'll never forget.
Hey, Rich, I'm gonna tag pictures. I'm gonna tag you too one day. I'm gonna hit my mama. Real story, man. We have an autograph from Muhammad Ali from years ago, right?
Yeah.
It's on the back on a wallet size picture. It's on the back of my mom's and dad's wedding picture.
Oh, snap.
Muhammad Ali signed that. That's all my mom and dad had when they seen him. He was in my hometown Stockton. It's on the back of their wedding picture. It's the picture that says proof.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s. It was their proof picture. So they never get in and get nothing done with it because Muhammad Ali signed it.
Yeah, you can't get nothing done with that, man. That's amazing right there.
Yeah,
that's now you got like that's history. Like you like that's a part of the family history now. Is like your mom and dad don't just got it, like the whole family has that picture now. It's a part of the family.
That's my picture.
Yeah. That's a part of the family.
That ain't never leaving the family. That got to be handed down from.
Oh, that's handed down. Hey, you think that ain't handed down? That's handed down to the most responsible, who ain't gonna ever touch it. Just whoever's not gonna touch it. Just tell people you got it.
Exactly. Just look at it. Hey, this one's coming from a friend of yours, Ray Flores.
Yeah.
Ask him how excited he is for the Browns, and is he convinced that Baker Mayfield is finally the guy for the quarterback?
Hey, listen.
Is he the man? Is he the myth? And is he the legend?
I should again, so I'm always ready to talk football. I show up at work to do some commentary, and we start talking football, and Ray says, well, you know what do you think about Baker, this and that? And I said, man, I don't want to talk bad about Baker, but I'm just not convinced he's the guy. I don't know if he's the guy. And I think at that point in the season, I don't remember our record. We might have been like 5-3 or something like that at that point. And then I was like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna just keep watching, but I don't know. And then Baker just goes off at that point, and he just starts winning and throwing touchdowns and winning and throwing touchdowns. Not just controlling the game clock and winning the game on the ground, which I think at this point every Browns fan just wants us to do. Just win the game, run Nick Chubb and run the other running back, and we'll be successful. Kareem Hunt, just run Kareem and run Nick Chubb, and we'll be successful. But and there's no lie. Every time he drops back and he goes like this, we're all excited and holding our breath at the same time, because at one point in time, you really didn't know where that ball was going. But he has really found himself over the course of the last half of the football season. And like I told my guys the other day, like somebody texted and said, yo, am I crazy to think that the Browns can beat the Kansas City Chiefs? I said, man, listen, y'all know me, and y'all know I do a lot of imagery before I fight, and I'm starting to imagine these Browns beating these Chiefs. So ain't no telling what's going to happen on Sunday.
Hey, man, you said it yourself.
I'm glad this one coming on a little earlier, though. I will say that.
I heard that. This one's coming. Oh, here we go. Back to the cookies. From Top Ranks, Frank Estea. He said, I heard a funny story about his dad catching him hiding cookies during training camp. Is this true? And can you tell us his side of the story?
Yeah, my side of the story is I don't know.
Okay. There you go. Plead the fifth. Fifth.
All right, so here's the thing, goddamn it. All right, here's the thing. Yeah. It happens, all right? Get over it. It happens. You know, it happens. But yeah, it happened. And it will continue to happen. I hope he don't see this. But yeah, I mean, you know, every fighter can attest that there comes a time in camp where you get fed up and you're like, yo, I gotta have it, you know. And that's kind of where I get with cookies from time to time. But you know, I managed to just keep it together. And you know, I think the positive thinking and the understanding that it's worth it. Once you get there and get it done, it's worth it. And that's what keeps me kind of going in my lane. But I ain't gonna front, man. Every now and then I do get out of my lane and grab something that I'm not supposed to have during camp. And more than likely it is cookies. It's nothing crazy like fried chicken or French fries or pizza, nothing that's really gonna weigh me down. So what I try to do is I try to get the cookies. Now I ain't gonna tell my secrets, but yeah, I'm doing the best I can. Let's just keep it at that.
There you go. This is coming from one of the best trainers in the world, and I've been to his gym, and there's a lot of dogs in there, man. Come on Thursdays, they do a lot of sparring, and they're not afraid to spar champion versus champion. This is coming from Robert Garcia. First of all, he's saying you have an outstanding career, and you're doing great on the color commentary. And he said, tell him Virgil Ortiz says, what's up?
Oh, nice. Oh man. Virgil he's a hitter, man. I've been checking him out. I saw his last fight. He's a really good fighter. And I really like the Garcia family. I think the one thing that people are really starting to find out about boxers is that we all have a lot of respect for one another, and it's not a game of hate. It's just a game of competition. And let me stop you from stopping me from feeding my family, that kind of thing. But the thing with the Garcia family is they love the sport. They've been around the sport forever, and they're not afraid to share that love. They're not afraid to just be themselves and get outside of that whole macho man type of mindset, which I think a lot of times, especially when you're in a fight atmosphere, guys really get into that fight mentality. And, you know, just like right there, he's kicking the joke, but that's just who he is, man. I really do appreciate the Garcia family.
And this last question, I'll call it the last question, because then we can have some fun before we that last bow. It's coming from Regis Pro Grace.
Oh, what? Y'all got questions from everybody today.
Hey, listen, we got Showtime on tonight. That's
tight, man. Y'all need to show me how to do that for my show.
Oh, hey, iron sharpens iron, man.
Let's do it. I don't mean to throw it out there and be all competitive or whatever. I'm like, yeah, they got all the guys on here.
Oh, man, we trying, man.
Weird, brother.
He said, how hard of a transition was it, again, from the ring to color commentary? And when it's all said and done, what three do you want to have under your belt? Whether you fought them, you won, lost, or draw. What three before your career is all done? And I think we touched about that. Yeah. And out of the three, break one down. Which out of the three that you named, you would be victorious by knockout?
The transition for me has been extremely easy. I think the first thing for anybody, this is just anybody listening, if this is something that you want to do and I think that is where it starts. I think a lot of guys get on because they feel like it's all they can do. I think there have been guys in the past who get on because they've been asked to get on and it's not something they're really interested in. I mean, this broadcasting thing dates all the way back to before I was in high school. It was something that I had tried to do. My dad even sent me off to a broadcasting camp, day camp, for a whole week. And I'm like, I don't really want to be here, but little beknownst to me, like I needed to be there. I love it, and I think that everybody knows if it's something that you love, you're always going to give it your best. And I think that that's why I really enjoy it. And I've had the opportunities when they come, man, I take them and I try to make the best of them. What 3 guys do I want to have fought before I'm done? Keith was one. Errol was one. I think right now it is Terrence Crawford. I think it's more Terrence than it is Manny, because I just don't feel like a fight with Manny is there for me. I don't know if I'm who Manny wants to fight. I would love that fight, but I'm going to make this really, I'll try to make it quick. Here's the thing. Terrence and I are friends, have been friends for some time now. And I've been saying that I want to fight him a lot lately. So I'm like, I don't know what our friendship is like right now. We haven't talked in a minute. But the thing is, when I just never, so we were on world teams together and all that kind of stuff, so far away from each other in terms of weight class, I never saw myself fighting him. Even when he was doing his thing at 135 and moved up to 140, was never a thought. But then once he started talking about moving up to 147, I talked to him. I was like, yo, I don't want anybody to ever force us to fight. If we fight, I want it to be something that we agree to do, and I want us to agree on the terms and make it happen. I don't want it to be your promoter or my promoter forced us to fight or anything like that. And we made that agreement. And I don't think I've really disrespected him or gone outside of that agreement or anything like that. But here's the thing. I was watching his fight. The first fight that I watched, and I said, man, I might have to fight this dude. He fought Jose Benavidez. And before fighting Jose, he had that. Jose might have been his first fight at 147. I don't remember. But even when I knew he was moving up, I was like, we had that conversation and I kind of left it alone. I'm like, I'm never going to fight him. I'm never going to fight him. It's whatever. And it has nothing to do with Top Rank and PBC or anything like that. It just simply was me feeling like he was somebody I never saw myself fighting and I never wanted to fight. But then I saw him fight Jose Benavidez. And not to say that he wasn't great before he fought Jose, but I'm just sitting there and I watched the fight by myself. And when the fight was over, he knocked dude out in the last round, I think it was, if not the 11th. And I sat there, I was like, damn, that dude looked great tonight. I was like, I might have to fight him, because that's how my brain works. My brain works with whatever's great, whatever's the best. Like, you want to be a part of that, you know? And so now I find myself in a situation where I'm like, people want to see the fight between myself and Terrence. I know that it would be a great crossover fight for PBC and Top Rank, Fox and ESPN. I really want to do this. I want to do it because I think it's going to be great. I don't want to do it because I feel like I can beat him. I don't want to do it because I feel like I'm going to prove people wrong. I simply want that fight because I feel like it's going to be some greatness in the atmosphere, and I want to be a part of it.
Very well said. Hey, this is actually Regis. One last text. Let me sneak this one in.
Yeah.
Do you think when you fought Spence, when he scored that knockdown, do you think that was the deciding factor that if both you guys would have finished, well, if you would have finished on your feet, do you think you would have been the victorious one? Going
into the later rounds, I was feeling like there had to be something to separate us in this fight. I was coming back to the corner. My dad keeps it real with me. He's gonna tell me if I did if I was winning a round or whatever the case may be. And it wasn't that we were comfortable, but we felt good. We felt good about the way things were going. But remember, I'm a competitor. I gotta separate this. I gotta separate me from him and make this happen. And it happened that we were throwing a punch at the same time, and his connected first. And when my hand touched the canvas, I knew that Jack Reese was stepping in, and I kind of felt like that was gonna be like the tipping point in the fight. And I mean, I think the way that the cards read in that fight, I could be wrong, but I think minus the knockdown, it was either a draw or I won the fight. I don't remember, but it was great, you know. And I'm not okay with losing the fight, but at the end of the day, like, nobody knows what we go through in training. Nobody knows what it feels like to be in that ring except other fighters and except other fighters that fight at that level. And when I say that, I was very proud of what I did, not only what I did, but what we did that night, to be at Staples, to be pay-per-view, and to do and put it down the way everybody was hoping and expecting we did. How am I going to be mad? How am I going to be upset? Of course I want a rematch. Of course I wanted to win. But at the end of the day, I mean, my job is to entertain. My job is to motivate and inspire and make people feel good. And I mean, minus my hand getting raised, the job was done that night.
Oh, there you go. Shelly, this question is for you, Shelly.
Hey, let me shout out Regis right quick. Okay. That boy, that's a bad boy right there.
Rigaroo, baby, all day.
Yeah, that boy bad. I keep my eye on him. I keep my eye on you, Regis, just so you know.
He's checking you out too, my man.
I'm checking you out, not really checking you out. Like, I don't, but I've been watching. Don't get me in no trouble. I ain't calling him out. Don't get me in trouble.
It's all good, man. I'm gonna ask. I got this question for Shelly, and then I want your take on this, Showtime.
Okay.
Shelly, out of the four, Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, if you can put Showtime Porter in the ring with one of these guys for a one night fight, you had a time machine of some sort, who would it be and why?
I would instantly Sugar Ray. I would want to see Sugar Ray uncomfortable. I would want to see him uncomfortable. Because I watched him pick men apart. I want to see him uncomfortable. Shawn, that's my favorite thing about you.
Yeah.
Just change the dynamic of shit. Like, but I feel like when you get in the ring, game plan A, B, C, all that shit go out the window. It's like, I
didn't think he was gonna say that.
You gotta just, at that point, you in the fight. That's what I think when I see you in the ring, my dude.
Oh no, man, I'm getting better at it, and I'm trying to do the best I can. But we really do. We have plan A, B, C, D, F, G, all the way down, and we got all the adjustments that need to be made in between them. But my whole thing, man, is whatever you like to do, I ain't letting you do it, and whatever you comfortable with, you ain't gonna be comfortable tonight. My aggression has just simply come from understanding that guys can't handle it. I think one of the hardest fights that I had was Andre Berto, in terms of just the clashing that we were doing and how hard the fight was. And I came back to the corner after one round. My dad said, "You good?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Why'd you do that over there?" I said, "Do what?" He says, "You just went at him like you were going to get him out of there. Did you see it?" I said, "No, I was doing what I felt like I needed to do." And that's how I operate. When I see you can't handle something, I found the button to push. My mom used to tell me I was an instigator, and that's exactly how I am in the ring. I'm going to instigate, I'm going to dictate, and I'm going to have my way. That's just me.
Actually, I'm going to ask you a favor, man. You're one of my favorite fighters. If I ever in Vegas, man, I want one thing from you.
What's that?
I want to be able to work out with you. The whole shit.
Okay.
Now you talking about that body punch. If you got headgear, I'm down. I want to know what it's like to be in the ring.
Before this, so we closed our gym. I think in 2018 we officially closed our gym, and then just last year I was about to pull the trigger on the building, and then COVID and the pandemic and the shutdown and everything happened. I promise you, I was just at my dad's house today, this morning. I can walk to his house. My dad, my son and I just ride his bike to his house, and we talked for a minute. And I told him that I might get out there looking for a gym again. I feel like it's the right time. And when it happens, man, I'm sure you will know about it. And you got the open invitation anytime. Bring a mask and bring some. Yeah. Bring a mask. Bring some spray, some sanitary spray, and we good.
Well, I'm gonna do the post-fight, and I'll do the pre-fight and the post-fight interviews of both you guys.
Oh, if he want to spar, I probably could make that happen if you want.
I want everything. I want the full.
Oh, he said, I don't got no like package for getting it. You got the Shawn Porter package. I want the all inclusive.
Exactly, the VIP. He wants it nonstop. Now, that would be definitely quite an honor, man, to share the ring with somebody like Shawn. You know, every once in a while, I'll get a call, and weary hours of the night too, and I'll take it from Hall of Famer Lee Samuels with Top Rank. And he'll kind of put me on the hot seat. He'll say, Richard, what do you think about this fight? Or the other day he said, Richard, I'm going to put the manager hat on you. Which fighter would you avoid if you had a fighter? And I said, definitely Shawn Porter.
Oh, wow.
I said, because you're not going to look good against him, and he's going to make you very uncomfortable and force you to fight his fight, plain and simple, period. God honest truth, man. And now that I'm able to share that with you, and you're like, honestly, you're a fighter's nightmare, man, because there's no game plan. There's no, I mean, you can't mimic you. It's nonstop. I want to say almost like a Benny Paziena, but more skill set and more angles.
Yeah, I really do. I pride myself. I'm a hybrid, you know. Growing up, I was short, but my dad taught me how to box from the outside as well as fight on the inside. And my whole thing growing up, I had an older brother, and he tall, long arms. Kenny is about 6 foot now, even, and he was just a little shorter when we were fighting together in the amateurs and stuff like that. He's been on world teams. He's won, you know, multiple national tournaments and all that kind of stuff. And so my whole thing growing up was, you know, we always watched Muhammad Ali. And so my whole thing was, even though I'm short, even at the young age, I was like, even though I'm short and you think my arms are long or short, I'm going to do whatever you think I can't do, you know? So I try to mimic Muhammad Ali and mimic those movements and those fast twitch moves and all that kind of stuff that you see me doing in the ring. That I think is what makes me such a problem and hard to prepare for, because you kind of have to prepare for a couple of styles, but then you don't know which one is coming first, which one's coming second, which one's coming third. And then even on top of that, I have the mindset of, let me figure out what you want to do and stop you from doing that too. So I'm going to do what I want to do and then stop you from doing what you want to do. And it becomes a very hard night for any fighter out there. And I think that, you know, that's why even at this point, we're trying to figure out who can we fight in March before we have to fight Errol Spence Jr. or Terrence Crawford or possibly Manny Pacquiao, because we want to get in the ring and we want to get the most that we can get. And we're not going to do that if we wait on other guys to say, okay, we'll fight them now.
What about you sharing the ring with possibly Mikey Garcia?
I don't know about Mikey. And I said that before. I said that those really are, you know, I don't know if fighters should even do that. Like, should I even say, okay, yeah, I'm never going to fight him and I'm never going to fight him, but I never saw myself fighting Mikey Garcia, and I never saw myself fighting Terrence Crawford. And so, I mean, both of them end up in the weight classes, a part of life, I suppose. And now everybody's looking at me like, yo, fight them. And I'm like, I just didn't have interest in fighting those guys, you know? So even now at this point, I've been kind of barking. I want Errol Spence Jr. or I want Terrence Crawford. I'm the mandatory for all those belts, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's another interesting fight. That's another great fight. I mean, how could it not be great? It's Mikey Garcia and it's Shawn Porter, you know?
Yeah. Hey, before we go any further, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Chris, man. Styles make fights all day long, man.
Yeah.
So my
put this together, man. Chris is a great guy. I'm getting off on the phone with him when I get off with you.
Yeah. No, we talk on a daily, man. He's a good dude, man. And he's been saying good things about you from day one, along with everybody else. And we got to get one of those shirts to Shelly there. Actually, I took this one from Chris, man. I mean, he had it there, and I just had to snap it.
I ain't mad at you.
No, I ain't mad at you. No, man. So what do you want to leave your fans with Shawn? I mean, how do you want to be remembered? I mean, because even after it's all said and done, I see your podcast blowing up. I see you working for PBC or else another network, maybe even the NFL network.
Yeah. Just before you asked me that question, I was actually thinking that. I was thinking, like, the best thing that I could do at this point is just have is to have the kind of reputation that I have, and have and be the type of person that everyone just has good things to say about. I think that that's something that I've always strived for. I've always wanted people to see me at my best. Never wanted anyone to see me at my worst or anything like that at all. I mean, and I got stories that I may eventually even tell, and you're like, wow, well, there's an opportunity where he really put his career and what he wanted people to know him for before he put his own personal feelings or anything like that at all. So, man, I think at the end of the day, I'm just going to continue to try to do the best that I can. My whole thing with this podcast is I just want something positive out there in the waves. And I want people to have something to look forward to, have something to inspire them and motivate them and entertain them. This podcast eventually is not going to be just a one episode a week type of thing. I'm going to start getting some young talent on here, guys that, you know, really wouldn't have the spotlight over them the way that some other young guys do. Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, to name a few, Shakur Stevenson. Right now, all those guys are hot. Yeah. But there's a lot of fighters out there that aren't able to be what those fighters are right now, you know. So this is going to be an amazing platform for boxing, and then eventually it's going to be an amazing platform for just the world in general. I know our first or second episode, I think it was the second episode, we teased that we were going to have Damian Lillard on the show, and it worked out that we weren't able to get him. But I want this show eventually. You're gonna see NBA players, NFL players, retired and currently playing. You're gonna see rappers. You're gonna see spoken word poets. You're gonna see doctors, lawyers. I mean, anything that you can think of, any way that I can share something and help somebody knowledge. That's exactly what I intend to do. I asked Bernard Hopkins to come on the show. I kind of was just looking for a way to end the last year and bring in this year big, and I ended up, he just was on my, I was like, who can I ask to get on the podcast? And I was going through my phone and I saw his name. I was like, let me try Bernard, and he actually wanted to get on the show. I'm glad that he did, but I didn't know what to expect. But he came on my show. But he's a legend. So eventually I'm hoping to have him right here in this seat and do more. I don't know if y'all caught the episode, but I mean, I think he did like 30 minutes with us, and from beginning to end, it's raining bombs of knowledge and wisdom and positivity and how to be a man, how to be a fighter, all that. And the podcast is going to become more of that the more we go.
And if you said spoken word, my buddy Brandon Leak, he's from Stockton. He won America's Got Talent. He was the poet that won. He was the first one that ever did it.
What was his name?
Brandon Leak. He was the brother.
Yeah. I think I met him out here. He performed before a fight. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, I met him one time, and we took a shot and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think we exchanged information, but he was a good dude. And like I'm talking about, man, like guys like him who know how to use their voice. Like you're gonna be here eventually, because that's what this is for. This is just simply for people to use their voice and spread positivity and goodness. You know, my show ain't no, you know, we ain't gonna be cussing a whole bunch and doing no outside the script type stuff. Our stuff is gonna be tight and it's gonna be fun, you know.
All right, Shawn, I got one last question coming from
Yes,
you.
sir.
And I'm a father of two as well.
Nice.
If one day you're sitting there, man, and you starting to hear a little little bag punching in the background, and you walk into a room and somebody throws some hand mitts at you and be like, "Hey, Dad, it's showtime."
Yeah.
Is it showtime?
My dad started this thing with my son, who's 2. He'll be 3 in just a couple weeks. He said, again, remember, I think it's football. So my dad says, what my dad says, quarter time, get set. So then we get down to 3-point stance. Then he tells my son, go, and they run from one side of the room to the other, you know. So my son knows exactly what it means when it's showtime, you know. And my son, I have a video of my son not this past Christmas, the Christmas before. My son would have been like 1 3/4 going on 2. For whatever reason, I was looking at my son. He was standing in front of the Christmas tree, and something told me, I'm gonna send it to you just so you can see it. Something told me, like, put your phone up and I started recording him. He's just standing there looking at the tree. And so I start recording, and he starts doing this to the little bells on the tree. And was hitting them. I'm gonna send it to you. When we get off. And he was hitting it, and it was at that point where I was like, oh God, he going to box. My wife and I, we're like, we don't want him to box. I definitely want him to play football. He's gonna be an athlete. I'm sure the other one's gonna be an athlete too. He's 6 months and he just started crawling. He's already standing up. So he just like his big brother. They're gonna be athletes. My wife's an athlete. She was a quarterback on her flag football team in high school. So they're gonna be really athletic, just like the both of us. And I'm gonna steer them towards football because we love football. Even my wife. Basketball, because that can take you somewhere, and soccer. I mean, I think that soccer, if you got skills, you can go a long way with soccer too. At the end of the day, I just want my sons to be successful. If boxing is what they want to do, I'm telling y'all right now, like it's gonna be a big pill to swallow, but I'm gonna swallow the pill and I'm gonna help them become successful, just like my dad did for me.
Great, man.
There you go. Enough said right here. So, what do you got to say to all the fans and the followers that watch and support Showtime Reporter?
It's amazing, man. So here's the really quick, another quick story. So my dad did give me the tape of the Fab Four, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Tommy Hearns. When I saw that, I saw Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and I was like, man, like this dude is a fighter. I remember thinking I was like 8 or 9 years old. I was like, man, when I fight, I want to fight like him. And I really, at a young age, I started just trying to be like Marvin Hagler. And I saw him the first time I got a chance to meet him. I introduced myself. He says, yeah, I know who you are. I've been seeing you. And I'm like, my heart's already pounding and all that. And he says, I like your style. You're a really good fighter. You're one of my favorite fighters right now. And I'm like holding back the tears and I'm trying to be cool and everything. But what I saw on that tape was guys being great, guys going for it all, and guys using their gifts and their talents to the best of their abilities. And I made an agreement, silent agreement with myself a long time ago that's what I wanted to do. I want everybody standing on their feet. That's just kind of my thing. I have a saying: I don't condone boos. When I'm in the ring, you will not boo when I'm in the ring. And I remember those tapes, just seeing so many fans like screaming and standing up and so excited and all that. And that's what I wanted to do. And I think I've done that to this point. I really just want to thank everybody for gravitating towards me, for respecting what I've been trying to do in this sport now and inside and outside of the ring. But people have been very receptive to me as a fighter, to me as a person, and to me now as an analyst and a commentator. And I just really want to thank everybody out there. I don't know everybody or anything like that, but when you buy the fight, when you come to the fight, when you are talking about the fight, when you are calling other people, or you going to a barbershop, or you're at a restaurant, bar, anything like that, and you're talking about me, like, y'all to this point have made it all worth it. And from the bottom of my heart, this is not me, I'm not signing off like I'm done boxing, but I just want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for making my dreams of being able to fight in front of big crowds at big venues. You guys have all made it happen. And have really just given me a lot of love, and I really do appreciate that. That's all I want people to know right now, is that I enjoy what I do. I love what I've been able to do, and I love that I've been able to affect everybody in a positive way, and everybody's been receptive to it. Not everybody can be themselves. Not everybody appreciates someone who can be themselves. I had Ryan Garcia on this week, and we were talking about that offline. About say, man, yo, I appreciate you for being you. A lot of other fighters, they try to find these gimmicks, or they try to be something that they think people want them to be. I sat down one day and I was like, man, I gotta find a gimmick. I got something like, I don't want to be Mayweather, but I gotta figure it out. Sat down in the room for like 4 hours. Couldn't think of nothing. I was like, I guess I'll be myself. And look at me now. Like, I decided to be myself, and it was probably the best decision I could ever made. So I just want to thank everybody, and thank you for having me on, man. I didn't know what this was going to be, but it was well worth my time, and I'm really appreciative.
Thank you.
Mike, I got a little secret, man. When I know that you said 30 minutes to 45, you could even said 10. I would agree, because I knew in my heart where it was going.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
It never fails. I
ain't go for, man. I'm trying to be respectful to my family and get out of this room so I can be with them and do what they need me to do around the house. But it's especially when I'm talking boxing and all that kind of stuff. I have fun doing this, man. So I appreciate you for having me on.
Absolutely.
If it happens in the future that you want to do something, man, just like last time, reach out and we'll make it happen. Special occasion, anything at all, it's a big fight, or you just want to hear my voice, anything like that, man, you got me anytime.
Good, I appreciate that, and I'll take you up on that.
Yes,
how do we follow you? Tell everybody about Porterway. What days does it come on? How do we follow you? How can we be a follower to the Porterway podcast?
The Porterway podcast is on everything: Spotify, the Apple Podcast app, Anchor, everything. It's on every platform that you want to see or hear it. The one that I watch is always on YouTube. I'm a visual guy. We drop our episodes every Tuesday. Now we've been getting them out in the morning. So sometime around Tuesday morning, afternoon, we drop a new episode. We're going to be doing some great big things coming up in the future. Showtime Shawn P, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. The podcast, Twitter and Instagram, I believe, is the Porterway Pod or the Porterway Podcast. So just keep looking out, man. It's gonna get better. It's gonna be great. So appreciate you guys for doing that plug too.
Hey, no problem, man. We're gonna take it home right now, but hang tough after we go down, because we're gonna stay on. Did you have something, Shawn?
Yeah, let me ask you a question right quick.
Sure.
Like what? So what's your thing with boxing? Did you do it in the past, or you just a big boxing connoisseur and the sport? Like, I just want to know, like, why people tune into you, and how you have someone like Top Ranks, one of their Hall of Famers, calling you and seeing what you think about things and all that kind of stuff. Like, how did you get where you at in this sport?
My mama was working graveyard shift, so she was supposed to sleep, and I was share the couch with her. And as a little boy, she said, "Look, that's Muhammad Ali." And she said he was very good, but he couldn't beat Joe Louis. And I didn't understand any of that stuff, but she schooled me. That was actually my mom. So I became a fan I never called anybody dad in my life. So I became a fan of the sport from listening to it round by round on radio, etc. I would actually bribe kids around the neighborhood, so we can share the ring together. But we had a water hose. Remember back in the day? So,
no, that ain't back in my day. I wasn't doing that.
We didn't have a ring in the neighborhood, so it was a water hose. So, anyways, long story short, I wrote for the Madera Tribune. I love the sport of boxing, the sweet science, and I got away for it for a while. I just didn't want to do it any longer. I had some things happen, didn't want to do it, but my son went to heaven, and when I spoke at my son's service, I said, there has to be something I can do for him. What could I do? I mean, I'm reaching for the stars. Do I wear hats? Do I pierce my other ear? Do I wear a polo? Because that's the stuff he would wear. Anything just to give back. And I kept looking for it. And then God just gave me this, that after use your platform, use your voice. So I was been blessed to do some commentary, do some ring announcing and some interviews. And after end of every interview, I would always end it with a thumbs up for Richie.
There you go.
And I said, no matter who the president is of the United States, I don't know who it is or who's going to be. One day, the president of the United States is going to look in the camera and say, thumbs up for Richie.
Yeah. So, that's beautiful, man.
So I keep this platform right here. And our whole thing is just like yourself. You don't need a mouthpiece or boxing gloves to be on the show. You can be fighting, to keep your marriage. You can be fighting cancer. You can be fighting for whatever it is in life. Every fighter has a voice. And when I said that, because I had every opportunity, Shawn, not to wake up, to stick a pistol to my mouth and not come home one day and nobody blame me, but I fought through it. And I said I would give every single breath that I take and dedicate it to my son. And along the way, everybody gets to benefit from it.
Sir. Yes, sir. You got it. Hey, man, you got me anytime you want me, man. that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about, man. I appreciate that story.
Thank you.
The same way with the Portaway. The same way you say, man, I don't know what president it's going to be, but he's going to look into the camera and say, thumbs up for Richie. The Portaway, I want it to be, it's a podcast right now, but I want it to become a way of life. I want people to say, yo, man, I was just doing it the Portaway, or you got to do things the Portaway. That's not the way you do it. You do it the Portaway. But I need everybody to understand what the Portaway is. It's everything that you just spoke on, man. It's all about positivity, not letting go, not letting down, not letting people down, not letting go of what you know you should do. You could have done the worst and you didn't, because you decided to do things the Portaway and you didn't even know it.
Yeah, exactly.
But and also just to credit you, I don't want to take over, but you did the right thing, man, and have continued to do the right thing. As you can see, I mean, I'm proud of you and proud to be on this podcast right now.
Appreciate it, man. You're a class act. Like I said, after we go to this outro, hang around here, man, because definitely want to have at least 60 seconds before we let you go back to your family. I know to say something. First of all, I want to thank all the viewers and the fans and my buddy Chris for making it happening. Styles make fights. They don't just make everything; they make fights. Well, something about when you wear that gear gives you that extra strength, and you can go that extra mile. Styles make fights. So, hey, Rich Ortiz, your host of The Fighter's Voice. Shelly Hollis. Don't forget to follow our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/thefightersvoice. Every fighter has a voice, and so does our guest, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Showtime Porter. And I'm going to let him take us home. And as always, it's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Okay,
thumbs up for Richie. God bless you guys.
Until next week. Remember, it's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, Cole Escovedo, the special guests, and all the crew right here at the Kick-Ass Podcast, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening. Okay, fight fans, it's not good